Hi, today I want to talk to you about my sports dramatic smoke pictures, okay? Dramatic smoke pictures, game face pictures that I've taken. I want to start out with some disclaimers before I get started. Number one is I'm not an expert at this. I can't say like there's people that are doing this for a living and they're just killing it. They're doing so great, and I've watched their videos. And so I'm new at this, so I can't say this is what I've done every time and it works. This is what I did that worked for me, and I want to share that with you. That if I can do it, you can do it. The other thing is that I had a fog machine, and I was given to me and I wanted to try it out. So that's my two disclaimers right off the bat. Okay, also, the space that I used was in our church building that is next to the elementary school that's full of kids. All right, I pulled from the elementary school right next door and I asked a mom, "Can I take pictures of your son?" So it was right next door. It was easy. All right, so what I want to say too is the space I was using was not ideal, but I made it work. And maybe because my space was small is why most of the videos that I had would talk about putting a gel light onto the back of the person. And from what I took notes and I was ready to do it this way. I got everything set up in the space that I had. So let me show you that first. So basically this is a small room with its paneling. You can see how large and small it is. It's really small. And it's paneling, and the floor is green. So you have to worry about color cast. And so what I did was, I took that 5x7 and put it against the wall and I have a stand, but I purposely put it on the wall to give me a couple extra feet of space. Then I put a 5x7 backdrop on the floor for him to stand on. Now I realized that wasn't going out far enough. 5 feet wasn't far enough away from the backdrop. So I grabbed a black cloth actually and put it down. So that gave me another 4 feet. So I've got about 9 feet of black space between, on the floor going to the backdrop. So I tried it out for myself, and I've got some funny pictures because I was excited, then irritated, then excited. So what I did was set myself in a chair and I put the gel light. And all right, let me back up. I was using an SK 300. I want to say 400 because all my lights are 4, but this one here is my small light. It's the 300. And this one is from like 4 or 5 years ago. It's an original light. It's got the old tungsten light bulb in it. So I had that. That was my light with my gel, and I put a barn door on it. All right, let me talk about the barn door. The reason for the barn door is because you can close that up and not allow the light to go onto the backdrop. And that was what I was trying to do. You're trying to control the light split, and that's the whole reason for the barn door. So I chose blue because the student coming had a red uniform. All right, so I'm trying it out, and all I'm creating is a halo effect. But I'm thinking, but the videos I watch, they put them right behind them, and mind you, most of the videos that I was watching, they either had a studio that looked to be humongous compared to anything that I've had, or they're outside and they have tons of space that they can use, or they're in a gymnasium and they have, so much feet. So when you're talking that you've got 9 feet of actual floor space to use, and then a couple feet for your back from that for your camera. All right. So I'm like, this is not working. It was, right behind me. It's not working. So then I moved the light back into the catty corner, right from me. So it was like almost touching, the light stand was touching the backdrop. So that's how close it was, but it was facing toward the back of my head. I put the barn door so that the light wouldn't spill on the backdrop. So I'm still keeping that black backdrop. So that's still dark black. And so then I got excited because it's like, this is working. This is working. This is what I had to do. And you're setting it, you're playing with it. And I don't have my settings to share that with you. I'm sorry. So I had that, and I knew it was working. So then I pulled in the fog machine. It was too low when I put it on the ground, so I grabbed a chair and put it on a chair for the actual session. And it takes a little while for it to flow up, but then you don't want it to overcrowd the room. So you're just kind of trial and error with that fog machine. The machine I have was given to me, so like I said, it was free to me, but it was old. And so you have to have patience with it. The cord was actually falling off, but it worked perfect, and I was excited about it. Now for the main light, I had a 25-inch soft box facing this person, and I had that a grid on it so that it's not spilling everywhere. Again, what you're trying to do is create that black dark background, and so you can't really use a shoot through umbrella. You need that grid on there so that you're able to control the light spill, and you're still lighting the person. So the idea is that you can see that face, you can light that person up. So that's the only two lights I use, literally. And so when the student come in, I had, the chair was out of the way because I wanted him standing, and then I also wanted him to, do some of those squatting, and he's a catcher, to do some of those type of things that he does on the field in real life. And it just worked beautifully. I just, I had myself, I didn't have an assistant helping me time the whole smoke thing. So I had to wait for it to heat up, and then I pushed the button for the smoke to come, and then I ran back to the camera real quick and started taking pictures, and it worked. Now the smoke detector didn't go off, so you have to keep that in mind, that it did set off the smoke detector. I was glad that they worked. But anyways, this is what happened, and I just thought this was really good. I went ahead and swapped out the gel to make it red and try that out as well. All right, so then when I got done with this, we did a whole different thing. We took this Noah was his name. All right, so I took Noah and I went into a room that was all white, and I'll do a video on that as well. But that wasn't an ideal setup either, but it worked, and I made it work, and we got some really good pictures. And I thought it was a good gallery to have that dramatic smoke. And he was, he really was a good model. He really was, because he got into it and he had that serious face, and then he had such a sweet smile too. So we got that variety going back and forth, both for the smoke ones and the ones that we did in an all white room. So we had that going on, and it turned out to be a really good gallery. So all I want to say is it worked for me. You can do it too. See you next time.